All right, guys, we are live. You guys will see that we got Calvin back tonight up there in the right-hand corner. Jason down below. We don't get Jason very much these days, so it's always a treat when Jason's on to bring his expertise. I also wanted to say, hey, we are part of the Villains Sports Media Network, and that's why you saw the Villains thing pop up when you on the intro. And so I just want to say, hey, thank you. We're over 500 subscribers. I believe we're at 507. So let's get that up to, let's start pushing towards 600, guys. Let's start making the push towards 600. So please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, do share button, share it all over the place, guys. I would appreciate it. It will help us. And and I just be honest, I would love to start monetizing this thing as a retired person. I would love to monetize this thing and get some money for it. Anyhow, okay. Oh yeah. Also, I'm not affiliated with the Swarm, but I have given to the Swarm, as has Calvin. But yeah, go ahead, and if you guys think about it, they could use the money to get some more transfer.
Yeah. We're affiliated. We're Swarm members.
That's true. Yeah. We are members.
So donate to the Swarm if you want to do that.
I wasn't told about the dress code in this show.
there isn't one.
Yeah.
Dumb minds think alike. So me and Dean both got it on.
I had lasagna for lunch, and quite a bit of it got on my shirt. It might be there permanently. All right, guys.
That's a man right there.
Yeah. This episode, we're going to talk about the draft, some of the new transfer portals, and then we're definitely going to talk spring football. But let's get started with the draft. All right. So, Jason, you got something on in the background there?
I don't.
Oh, I got to turn my TV off.
Oh, okay.
Unless you can hear my son all the way and his buddy down in the man cave.
No, it was Calvin.
Yeah, they had a draft grade for each team. Mel Kiper and him on ESPN.
All right. Well, K2 gets KJ2 gets a pick by the Steelers in the third round. But however, that was the Steelers' second pick. So they didn't have a pick in the second round. So he may have gone in the second round if the Steelers had a pick. But
I just think that's where he was always going to go, and I'm so excited for him to go there because that's a perfect spot for his running style. They love those big running backs. He's got great quickness in the hole. Like, he's going to fit in perfect in Pittsburgh. I'm excited for him. I felt that he's got to be – like, I knew he wasn't going to be the first running back. He's got to be in a certain system for his skill because he really doesn't use his size except for in the open field, right? He doesn't just bury into a hole. Like, he needs the line to block, and because he uses his instincts. So I'm just excited for him to go to Pittsburgh because you know how many times that for as big as he is, we would see him lose a half a yard because he didn't have a hole. He would dance a little bit. He just wouldn't put his head down and go. So he needs an offensive line in front of him for his skill set to at least get a few yards, but he can explode if there is a hole.
Well, there you go. Also, while we're talking about it, in the fifth round, Yaya Black is that what you say? Yaya?
YA.
Black.
Yeah,
like YA Black. Also is a Steeler now.
Yep.
Wow. And we're going to have a third one who signed undrafted free agent with the Steelers, which was Castro.
Yep. And that's a good defense for him to be as well. They love to use their safeties, and he's basically a linebacker. He'll be a linebacker playing safety or a safety playing linebacker, however you want to say it. But so he went to a good team. He's going to make that roster, I believe.
I read I shouldn't say where I read it because I might get in trouble, but I read where the Steelers keep 4 safeties all the time. They only have 4 on the roster, and he's the only rookie that's going to be in their camp. So he'll at least be on the practice squad, right, Jason? If they will keep an extra safety, right? What?
You talking about Castro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he makes the team, but I
Me
think
too.
shock him because
Yeah.
these Iowa kids did not perform well at pro days or because they're not extremely fast. If you go off your 40 time, very few Iowa players are going to show up, right?
Mhm.
And their drills that they run at the combine, they put too much emphasis on those quickness drills. These guys who they got are instinct guys. These defensive guys are instinct guys, and they have to play zone. Pittsburgh plays zone, so that's a great spot for Castro as well.
Cool. All right. And then, of course, in the 7th round, we had Mason Richmond go to Seattle. Connor Colby to the 49ers. I like that.
Yep.
And Lachey to the Texans.
And that's going to be a great
So
offense for him to be in, too.
What's that?
So that's a good offense for him to be in as well.
Great. Good.
I think he's going to surprise him as well. These Iowa kids got
And he'll have his dad's
Schmatic.
butt. He'll have his dad's buddy throwing passes to him at Houston. So.
Yeah, it's like some of these kids though who they shouldn't have stayed this last year if it was going to turn out the way it is. I mean, I could tell you guys some things about why Parker wasn't very mad. I mean, the defense a year ago was just discombobulated with all kinds of things, jealousy, all kinds of things.
Yeah,
and
I
which is
know
why
that.
the defense didn't play very well at all. They all should have just went pro instead of coming back for that 1 year. Because Higgins,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say if Higgins goes pro a year ago, he gets drafted. Castro the same. It's I just don't. I didn't. Just what happened a year ago, which I kind of felt NIL would bring that to some teams, especially like right now in the beginnings of NIL for players who didn't get it. There's a lot of players on that defense that felt they deserved NIL. And they didn't get as much as they wanted, and some others got some that they just felt like it was a whole team thing that should have got NIL. But the individual NIL, some players got too much. It just turned into a jealousy.
Well, the defense let us down in 3 games: Iowa State, Michigan State, and UCLA. And other than that, I thought the defense played okay.
I mean, they did play okay, but they're just so talented. But you know how people were wondering why Parker wasn't getting in their face, getting mad, doing the normal Parker things? That's because I feel like now after hearing all kinds of things that happened inside the locker room, I just feel he kind of felt bad for the situation and probably wanted last year to get over with. He's probably really excited about this year.
He's according to
this year he's got to coach these kids up this year for sure. He's back to square one.
Yeah, according to his presser, he says TJ Hall is his best corner right now. However, they're bringing in that new corner.
It's like his last year. I said it's his last year. He ought to be.
I know. Just trust me. Trust me.
It's like Nwampa. You'd think he'd finally be good by the time he's a senior, right?
Yeah. So. Well, they're moving him to regular safety. They think that will be better position for him.
I thought they were going to use him at cash too.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't hear that part, but
they want him closer to the line of scrimmage, which is where he should have been the whole time. That's why he always gets burnt deep. Mm-hmm. Like he always wants to come up to make the play. He's not the safety to play deep because he wants no part of not being in the action. He wants to be in the action.
The thing about Nwampa is you don't want him to have to think to what to do because he ain't good at it.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's steer this back to the draft, and we'll get back to Nwampa and the rest of the guys here in a minute. Okay, so we had 4 unsigned draft picks. Harris, I did not know actually signed with the Titans until I learned that this morning. Mm-hmm. I thought he went unsigned. Castro, we already talked about with the Steelers. Here's one, Luke Elkin. I just love this pick. His signing going to the Bears. He'll be long snapping to his fellow.
I feel like reunited. I feel like that's why they picked him up. I 100% feel like that's why they picked him up for that purpose.
I think no matter if the Bears wouldn't have needed a long snapper, Elkins was the best long snapper in the country, and he was going to get picked up and make the NFL if not this year, then next year.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I'm
never.
pretty sure he gets. I'm pretty sure he sticks with the team.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
just
will.
one of
He'll
those.
be
Just
snap-
one of those guys. You know, like he was a walk on originally.
He'll be
Just
snapping.
one of those.
He's a long
Yeah.
snapper.
Yeah. And so, okay, and so then of course we had Higgins going to the Ravens, and like you said, a couple of these guys that they had just come out last year would have been drafted last year and made themselves a little more money that they're making now. But we got some guys that weren't undrafted signed free agents. They're just free agents invited to mini camps, which means nothing, but they get a chance to show
they
off.
get a tryout. Come on, doesn't
Yeah,
mean
okay.
nothing. They get a tryout.
All right, I don't mean okay. I didn't mean it the way it came out.
Well, you and
They
I
get
aren't getting a tryout. That means something.
Yeah. Well, they're at least getting their shot. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got Nick Jackson going to the mini camp for the Ravens. Quinn Schulte going to the mini camp at the Raiders. And guys, I gotta believe that's the first time an Iowa Hawkeye has even had a sniff at the Raiders.
No,
All these years we've been following, I can't remember any
we
Hawkeye
had
being a
we
Raider.
had an outside linebacker and defense and tight ends that played for the Raiders for a while.
I mean, Nick
Was his
Freaking
name Myers? Was his name Myers?
Yeah, Myers.
Yep.
Brandon Myers.
Okay.
Robert Galley got picked, I think, number 2 overall to the Raiders.
Well,
Oh, I did not realize that. Okay, guys,
and
my bad.
our guy that had to sit out with the gambling last year, the nose tackle, he went to the Raiders. I don't know if he made the practice squad or not, but. And by the way, Nick Jackson, late breaking news, he's actually signed with the Giants.
Oh, they switched that up. Okay.
Liddell Betts might have. They got a bunch of Iowa coaches with the Giants now, so
Yeah.
Steve
Well,
Ferentz, or one of the
good for Nick.
Ferentzes anyway. But.
Steve.
Yeah, good for Nick Jackson. And I would like to point out, even though he wasn't a Hawkeye last year, he's Petrus going mini camp to the Chiefs. Then it says, and then side note that he's also going to the mini camp for the Chargers the following week.
Cool.
Yep.
So he's got a couple opportunities. I mean, at best with the Chiefs, he'd probably be practice squad with Mahomes leading the way at number 1.
I mean, there's not a better place to go than the Chiefs to learn quarterback play. So
you had Ellsbury going to Seattle, didn't you?
I miss Ellsbury.
He's
I miss him?
He's probably going to play longer in the NFL than the 2 guys that got drafted, I think.
Okay. Well, I also want to mention that Paul was supposed to be on this show, but between his job and his umpiring today, he can't be here. But he did send a text message earlier today saying that I want to read that text so I get it right.
Was it something about Gabby Marshall?
Not at all. He's moved on from Gabby.
Okay, good.
his crush is gone.
I love Paul. Damn it. I don't care what either one of you 2 say about him.
I love Paul.
I know you do.
We all
I'm
love
trying to make Jason laugh.
We all love Paul.
Okay. All right. So, of the 7 undrafted free agents, Paul predicts 4 of them will stick.
Okay.
Ellsbury, Jackson, Higgins, Castro, Richmond, Elkin. I'm trying to think.
Jamari Harris will play in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are going to stick.
Of all the guys that went to the NFL this year, including KJ2, Jamari had the best film of anybody the last 2 years. I mean, you talk about a sticky cover guy,
Okay.
But,
well, finally, let's go.
About just the kind of, I'm kind of with Kelvin as far as I think the players who didn't get drafted have a better chance of staying longer than the Colby and the other kid who got drafted, to the 49ers. Like, I don't think those 2 are in very good situations compared to, I really think Higgins is going to step in and do good. They're linebacker heavy in Baltimore. They love their defense, our linebackers. I think he's going to be hard-nosed and their coach is going to fall in love with him. I think Castro sticks on with Pittsburgh. The defense is perfect for their zone defense that they run for him. So, yeah, a couple of the kids who actually got drafted probably won't be around as long as some of these kids that are free agents.
Yeah. Well, George Kittle said that Colby coming to the 49ers, he says, we need more Iowa in this room, locker room.
I mean, you can't deny that.
I just hope Purdy stays with the Niners. They're talking about, because he's getting old and he's getting a lot of money. The salary cap has everything to do with the NFL. I hope.
Old?
Yeah,
Old?
what
He's
is
like
it?
what?
Ninth
4
year?
years in the league?
I
3
think-
years in the league?
9 years, I think, or 8. And
Brock Purdy? He's not been around that long.
I'm talking about Kittle.
Oh, Kittle. I'll say Kittle. I thought you said Brock Purdy.
I think if the Niners are smart, they won't. Maybe I did. I'm sorry, my brain don't work. And if the Niners are smart, they wouldn't give Purdy $50 million either. That's a
He's no Mahomes.
Talk about a chunk of your salary cap.
Yeah, he's no Mahomes. No Mahomes. All right. Okay. Finally, the 3 latest portal people coming in to help us out. We got a long snapper, Brian, coming from Boston College. Brian Worwell. I don't know anything about him, but they wouldn't be bringing him in if they were happy with what they had in practice this fall.
Well, they only had one.
Okay.
You can't go into a season with one long snapper.
Yeah. And this confuses me. We bring quarterback from Wake Forest, Jeremy Heklesinski, 5'11", 170. I thought we were pretty well set with the quarterback room, but talk to me about it. Jason, you're our quarterback guru.
Are we talking about Iowa now?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're talking about Iowa's signing in the portal, Jeremy Heklesinski.
Oh yeah, but he's coming in like he's not going to get play. But I mean, I like the pickup.
Okay.
He's gonna. I mean, this is what I'm curious about before we get into the quarterbacks, because I'm just wondering because they brought in Wake Forest's coach, right? As a he's not an assistant, right? What is he? He's an
analyst.
Analyst.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he loves that slow motion freaking RPO. Have you guys ever seen that slow motion RPO?
I have not.
I mean, the offensive line's got a block. It looks so weird, but he likes it. And we'll find Lester runs the RPO. This is just an ultra slow version of it. But so bringing in that other quarterback, maybe he can teach the other quarterbacks how to do it if he was doing it a year ago. But yeah, I like it. We needed another quarterback. We have our three.
We lost 2 quarterbacks. We lost Rezar and Sullivan.
Okay,
this guy is taking Rezar's redshirt freshman quarterback slot.
Yeah,
you want a quarterback in every class, a redshirt senior.
Let me point out that Iowa's never carried more than 4 quarterbacks in the past. They had six going in with this class if you include the incoming one from
Jimmy. Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy's already here. The Wiz one is not on campus yet.
Dean's counting walk-ons, which you do not count.
Oh, I was wondering where Dean was going with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got 2 walk-ons,
right.
2 walk-ons on the team, and we got 4 scholarship quarterbacks.
And what I said was in my podcast when we were doing a recap of the season, I said we're going to have 6. I said by the summer we'll have 6 quarterbacks on the roster. There will not be 6 quarterbacks on the roster when we start in August. However, they fooled me by signing the latest quarterback that they just signed, because when Jimmy Sullivan left, that dropped them down to 5. Not Jimmy Sullivan, Brandon Sullivan. I'm going to mix that up for a while, guys.
But you do know they've always had walk-on quarterbacks, right? I mean, they had that many a year ago, but they had walk-on quarterbacks on the roster too. But they had 4 scholarship quarterbacks a year ago.
Yeah, we got with Heslinski, we have a true freshman quarterback. We have a redshirt freshman quarterback, Heklinski. We have Hank Brown, who's going to be a sophomore. And we got Gronowski, who's a senior. That's only 4 quarterbacks.
You missed
Stratton is a freaking walk-on, even though he might be right up
He
at the
won't
top
count
of the heap.
walk-ons until he gets a scholarship. He doesn't count walk-ons.
And Fitzgerald
And so-
is a walk-on. So.
Okay, but that's 6 if you count them. These
Okay,
guys get a chance to play.
if you want to count walk-on.
Did Stratton as a walk-on not actually play in 3 games last year and started 2 and won 2?
That's exactly why we want to hit. That's exactly why he wanted Hekslinski on the roster. We don't want to get down to where we have 2 backup defensive players backing up Stratton because of injuries. So.
Okay, moving on. We've got from South Dakota, we got Shaheed Barrows listed as an athlete at 6'2", 186. Was he a cornerback, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that will help shore up our cornerback issues that we're having because they didn't sound like Deshaun Lee had matured enough to take over that spot at starting role.
It's the defense is in shambles. That's why I'm kind of lowering the ceiling on all my messages about Iowa's offense. And when we talk about it, I'll discuss a little bit of it. But like they moved Alex Mota, which really makes me mad because he could have been a very good receiver. He has very good ball instincts. He can catch the ball, but they moved him to DB. But okay, so hopefully he gets the ball thrown to him as a DB. Hopefully he gets himself in those situations.
Well, I was going to say, you said good ball instincts. Let's just hope his good ball instinct he goes head hunting for those balls.
Yeah. So I'm hoping because he would have been a very good receiver, but they moved Washington back to running back, and they're saying all kinds of great things about him being a receiving running back. Mm-hmm. So that means the receivers they have. They're so excited for. Sam Phillips is another version of number 21. Your guy?
Wetchin.
No,
Wetchin.
number 21.
Wetchin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I said it all the time.
Weejan.
Well,
Dean,
whatever. You know who number 21 is?
About.
I had a brain for it, but Dean can't remember number 21?
Yeah, there you go. I should because I'm really good friends with his uncle.
I absolutely love Weejan, and that's what Sam Phillips is a better route runner than Weejan.
Yeah.
Sam Phillips.
It's too bad we didn't get to see him on display Saturday. That was too bad.
If Dean ever reads what my eyewitness from the spring game said, he said Wetchin's about the 8th best receiver.
Yeah, he doesn't run.
That's how good. That's how many good receivers we got.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read it right now. Here we go.
We're
going to get into spring practice, and I was given this to read. This is written by a person that Calvin trusts, who was at the spring game. O-line, a bunch of big guys. QBs, Stratton best. Wait a minute, go back. I lost it. Okay. Stratton best, but like Labus, lacks body build for durability. Jimmy weakest arm. Running backs are loaded. Ostrenga and Vanaman look super at tight end. Wide receiver room, super. Wetjen could be the 7th best. That deep. He needs to be wide open to catch the ball. Others can catch in traffic, is why he has him as a gadget guy. What's a gadget guy, guys?
Well, you get him wide open on.
He'll do gadget guys are the ones that do the reverses, the wide receiver screens.
Oh, okay.
Like all of that. Like
some special play.
He needs to, and I agree. I mean, he is the gadget guy. They need to get him the ball by play calls at least 5 times a game. He is by far the best player on the team with the ball in his hands.
Okay.
And that's why they need to feed him.
Okay. All right. Bud Meyer and Lester got it going. Ops. Guess OCs have no real involvement per you guys, laughing my ass off. Did you add that part?
Yes, I did. He said his comment was Bud Meyer and Lester really have this wide receiver room cooking. And then I added there, we can't say that because the OC doesn't have anything to do with the wide receiver room. So.
Okay. All right. Dakin was holding on kicks, might have hindered Drew. Burr not as much because Burr has a slow approach to the kick. Llewellyn is awesome. I can't even say that. Chickamy and Kennedy. Chimike and Kennedy super, especially Chimike. Joseph Anderson is quick, but too thin yet. Needs a year. Don't worry about D-line. LOL. Linebackers are good and deep. DBs were okay. Probably Phil's biggest worry. I think most people realize that. Don't you think?
Linebacker and DB are they're questionable.
Okay.
I go with Seth Wallace. I asked him, do we need to add any linebackers? And he said, heck no. He said, I got 6 super freshmen. And he goes, I like my experienced linebackers. They just haven't played, like Jay Higgins. He said, I don't need any additions to my room. That's what he said. So I just go with Seth. So
Okay, here we go. The final thoughts here. QBs, mostly pocket guys in Lester's system. Dual threats, probably more hyperbole than real. There we go. I got it read word for word, buddy.
Yeah, that was his,
that's going to be the. Go ahead.
That was his report. He said, Brown, and what's his name, Stratton are obviously they're just drop back quarterbacks, and he said Lester is coaching them to just take 2 or 3 steps back and sling that ball, get rid of it. And he said Brown is not near as good at. He holds onto the ball too long. He said Brown would have had 6, 7 sacks if could actually have tackled the quarterback because he was holding on too long. But
he just got there, right? He's still learning what's going on as far as the offense. Brown,
he got there and he did practice with the team during bowl prep.
Yeah, him and Jimmy Sullivan, both were in our bowl practices. And,
right.
Yeah,
he's got what, 25 practices at most in. I mean,
okay. So
yeah.
All right. I want to let Jason talk a little bit about our quarterback situation because he's studied them. He kind of knows them. And I think you're high on Brown, though, aren't you, Jason?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. The only thing with Brown is he needs to put on some weight. Now, Brown's not a pocket passer as much. He can move in the pocket. He can get out and run. Stratton is a pocket passer. I mean, that's why they recruited Stratton to Colorado State to run the air raid because he does have an arm and he's very accurate. And he's not going to get out and move. But Stratton, that's what I was going to say, is it depends on what Lester wants. Lester wants an RPO guy. So Gronowski, regardless, he's going to start. If something happens to Gronowski, that RPO is going to go downhill a little bit. And I'm wondering what he's going to do in the goal line. Because outside of Gronowski, Brown can move. Like Stratton can't really move. So you could still run the RPO just for show with Stratton. But Brown, you can do some things. I just wish Brown weighed 220 instead of like 205 or whatever. But
maybe he's thinking at the goal line that because Cade was so ineffective at the goal line last year, which is how Sullivan got to be our goal line person.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying is maybe he's got more faith in Gronowski that the goal line with Gronowski won't be an issue this year.
Well, it won't be.
230 pounds of Gronowski.
Yeah, it won't be. But my question, what I was saying was if Gronowski gets hurt.
Yeah, right.
If he gets hurt again, then they're going to have to, like Brown can run the RPO. I disagree with what Kelvin's buddy said about Brown being a pocket passer. He's not. He can get outside. He can run bootlegs. He can do a lot of things. And he's accurate on the run. But Stratton is a pocket guy, and he's very accurate. He can make every single throw, but like he's not going to do – you can run the RPO, but you're not going to – it's just for show with Stratton. It's 100% just for show. And Grant, the stuff that I got is apparently Stratton could make the move because I already had Gronowski and Hank Brown, and then Stratton right here. Apparently, Stratton made a lot of moves in the spring. So Stratton is it's like Brown and Stratton right here now. So if Stratton's not on scholarship, he's soon going to be on scholarship, I bet, when they get one.
They're worried about Stratton ever trying to run the ball because he's so damn skinny.
Well, he took. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's even skinnier than Brown. You're
I mean,
right.
you can't. It's like Sullivan was a great runner, Brandon Sullivan, but it sure wasn't. It sure couldn't hold up. You know,
He couldn't throw the ball very well.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll be right back. Just continue on the quarterback conversation until I get back.
Okay.
I thought it was funny. That Stratton got way more repetition than Brown.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that out because Brown would know less of the offense than Stratton would. You know, Stratton's been here for a year and a half.
Right. No, and that's what's funny is Stratton's the oldest guy in the freaking group. Right? He's been there the longest.
But
and I mean, Gronowski's obviously the oldest, but you know what I meant. Like Stratton's been there. What did he come last summer, or did he come last spring? I don't remember.
Last fall was his first. Him and Sullivan came at the same time.
Okay. So Stratton's been here since last fall, and he's the oldest man in the room. All the other ones. But I did have, because I am high on Hank, and I think once Hank learns the system, puts a few pounds on, he can be a runner and a thrower. Stratton only weighs like 190 pounds and he's 6'4".
Yep.
But he has a cannon of an arm and he's extremely accurate. So if they do want to lean on the running game and the play action pass, Stratton could be very good.
Yeah, my guy that put in them notes, he didn't say anything about Brown hardly. He was just saying that Stratton was way the best passer, you know.
Yeah.
But he thinks that Brown's the guy that's got to play because Stratton's too fragile looking. You know, there's no way if Gronowski would happen to get hurt, which Gronowski will probably never miss a minute of a game, you know, the way he's built. But he just said that, God, if Stratton would have to play 8 games, there's no way he could make it through.
I mean, he could as a pocket passer. I mean, he never got hurt a year ago. Like he could.
But he's gonna get hit as a back pocket passer too.
Well, I mean,
guys, we're gonna go to a commercial break if you don't mind. I'm gonna run this commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, be right back.
Oh, pain.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you guys are ever in South Carolina, I know a lot of people take vacations to South Carolina. Swing over and get your tattoo from Jimbo. I'm sure he'd be happy to give you a tattoo. I don't think I'll ever get to South Carolina because it's not on my bucket list. But
Charleston, you gotta go to Charleston. Go over to the water. I mean,
well,
yeah. I won't ever get a tattoo, but
I don't. I'm not a tattoo guy. Not that I have anything against them. I just don't want one on my body.
Oh yeah, I don't have anything against them. Everybody I know has them, but I witnessed someone crying when they were getting one, and I was like, I'm not getting one of those. I'm not paying somebody to make me cry.
I got 3 tattoos, but I figure as close as I am to the nursing home or mortuary, you know, might as well quit.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Guys, let's get into the wide receivers a little bit. Let's talk about what you guys think what we have for wide receivers and the depth and everything.
It's, I mean, they don't know who's going to be they got Vanderzee, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably be the Z, but I mean, I'm guessing Sam Phillips will be in the slot. I'm not sure how Lester does it. Is it the Y? I'm not sure how Lester uses his verbiage, but I think Wetjen and Sam Phillips will be our slot guys. That's I don't know, because they moved Alex Moda over to DB, so they have to be really impressed with Seth Anderson, Bowie, right?
Yeah.
Howard and C.J. Parker was the star of the swing of the
Having
spring.
KJ Parker. KJ Parker.
C.J. Parker is, he's the same size as Wetchin and Phillips.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But having Howard and Vanderzee down there by the goal line would be huge if they wanted to start throwing fade routes, and because they're both
Howard made the catch of the spring practice. I mean,
he
can go up in a crowd.
Oh yeah,
so catch it right over top of his head backwards. That's what he did. He pulled it down and then he ran.
Vanderzee actually did that in a game.
Yeah.
A year ago, if you remember.
The nice thing about Vanderzee, everybody says it looks like he's put on a few pounds because he needed to.
Yeah, he needed to as well. He was a skinny freshman, like a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they don't really have a one right now. Like they don't have that top guy. So it's going to be a learning curve for the wide receivers. Apparently, they're just more talented, and they're moving people around because they need DBs. They don't know who their DBs are. So I'm just excited to see what. Now, granted, I was getting all kinds of messages. Like I said, I'm going to tamper these because Iowa's defense is in shambles. They don't really know who's who yet. And I think that's probably why Kirk won't put out a depth chart. He does not want anybody transferring because they're not on the depth chart. He said
because of parents.
Parents complain more than the players do.
So. Well, that's what he said, but I don't believe it. I mean, that's why Brendan Sullivan left. The moment he wasn't getting reps, he knew. So he got out. Charlie, remember, he got out during spring because of the depth chart. Yeah. Like players have been leaving when they're not on the depth chart. I feel like it has more to do with that because he's never cared about the parents before.
Do you think
all of a sudden?
Do you think Sully left because he got passed over by both Brown and Stratton in practices?
Yeah, I 100% knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know if Sullivan would leave because I knew nobody would want him. Mm-hmm. Like we were the only ones. We were the only ones that took him out of the portal a year ago.
Well, Tulane got him now.
Right. And he's not going to start TJ Finley. He's going to have a struggle beating out TJ Finley. Yeah. I can't believe he chose them.
So, I can't believe he chose a school where he's not going to be the starter. And he was considering, I heard, Michigan at one point, which would have been dumb and foolish on his part.
On Michigan's part as well. That wasn't going to happen. When I heard the rumor, I didn't believe it. I was like, he's not going there. Even though they don't have a quarterback. But they paid $8 million for that Underwood kid. So no matter what, that kid's probably going to play because they paid so much for him.
He threw like a 90-yard touchdown pass in the spring game.
Did he?
They were on live yesterday.
I heard his passing percentage was like 5 of 17, though, something like that.
Yeah. Well, Hank Brown's was like 6 out of 17.
Oh, he was.
Stratton was like 13 out of 18.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's why everybody that watched the game said, "Well, Stratton's way the better thrower."
Well, he obviously was, and we discussed that even before this. That Stratton is by far the better thrower, but Hank's right there with them as far as throwing, and they're both better than Gronowski as far as throwing, but they don't have that extra dimension that Gronowski has. Or the leadership that Gronowski. Gronowski is he's a quarterback through and through. So
Stratton's actual stats, according to Chad Lysico, I wrote this down, was 4 of 5, 64 yards, and the 11 on 11.
That was his first. That was his first drive.
Oh, okay.
64. He was pointing out that Cade McNamara had 20 yards in the whole spring. Or the whole
I was gonna say
kids day, and Stratton had 65 yards in his first drive against the defense.
Yeah. Something about Witchin scored on an end around with a deep throw from Brown. I don't know. Maybe I miswrote that down too. I wrote those down as updates as Chad Lysico was updating people.
I think
page.
I think the deep throw from Brown was that catch by Dayton Howard for like a 45-yard touchdown or something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's so hard when you're watching video and you're watching it on my phone. Sometimes it's so hard to see who's doing what. Somebody actually posted, and I believe it was from WHO Channel 13 out of Des Moines. Keith Murphy posted it. He actually told you who was who in the thing. Like Brown to Howard or something like that,
Well, and when we get another thing about wide receivers, walk-on true freshman Apollo Payne, 6'3", 190, has been impressing. He's from Cedar Rapids Prairie.
Well,
Most people don't even know who he is, but I write down all the walk-ons.
Right.
I love the name Apollo.
Right.
Yeah,
that is
a great name.
But what like people were just messaging me like they're running smash concepts, they're running this, they're running mesh. Like I'm like, well, under Brian they ran sail. Remember the touchdown Petrus to Regini against Penn State when Penn State was number 2?
Yes.
At the end of the game, that was on the sail concept. That was a sail route. I'm like, they've always ran these, but now they're completing them. So the reason I want to temper all this is because the defense is not close to as good as it was right now anyway. We don't know. This could turn out to be a great defensive players. We just really don't know. Thank goodness Herkett is back. But there's another one that came back. I can't remember who it was. But so I don't want to – I'm glad everybody's excited for once. Everybody's positive on Iowa's offense because they looked really good. Stratton, I'm glad, looked really good because he is the capable one. He's the one I wanted to start ahead of Sullivan a year ago in the bowl game, if you guys remember. I wanted Stratton. Stratton went 2-0. Yeah, he didn't do great against Nebraska, but Nebraska was a good defense. Sullivan didn't do good at all except against a terrible defense in Wisconsin. So
I think the defensive line will be twice as good this year as last year.
Yeah, Graves is back. Yeah, the D line is going to be
these freshman defensive linemen. Campbell didn't get to play. His aunt told me that he got a shoulder operated on like a week ago, but he'll be fine in the fall. But all those freshmen and Pace and Hawthorne and Graves didn't play at all, I don't think, in the spring.
Like I told you guys before the show, so many people were impressed with Hawthorne. So that, and I didn't even realize he was a transfer kid. Like I didn't know anything about him until everybody was saying that he was doing really well. So yeah, I mean, we don't know who our best receiver is. We don't know who our best DB is right now. And we all say Hall. I think one of you guys said that Parker said Hall.
He said if he had to pick a number 1 cornerback, he'd pick him.
Okay. So if you had to right now. Because remember a year ago he played, but he got benched because he struggles figuring out their zone concepts. Like when he thinks it's cover 2, well, it depends on the formation that comes out. If you're in straight cover 2 or if you're in palms. If you're in palms, you have to take the guy deep if he goes deep on your side. And if you guys remember, he got benched because he got smoked like twice in a row thinking it was cover 2. And
the people were very impressed with the true freshman. He's an early enrollee, CJ Bell from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he's one I told Dean that Desmond King jumped out on the field and was coaching him during spring game. So he's a very linear, long-armed, taller, very fluid guy. So hard to play when you're a true freshman, but
he's 6'1", 6'1", 175.
If you watch his tape, he just glides across the field. I mean,
who was I asked this question last night in a message to Kelvin, but he didn't respond. And Brad Banks was at. Oh, you didn't know? Okay, I thought you knew.
Yeah, don't know like that.
Jason, maybe you know. Brad Banks was at the spring practice this week. I thought he had a nephew on the team, but I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought maybe he had. There's a high school kid that's like related to him that we're interested in, but I racked my brain. I couldn't remember who. Might be a junior in high school or something, but I don't know.
Well, I reached out to Brad. I asked him personally, and I also invited him on the show. So we'll see if he gets back to me. Okay. Let's talk about the running backs. Kamari Moulton seems to be the heir apparent to Mr. Johnson. Okay.
No.
Jazz and Dahl didn't play, I don't think.
It'll be by
Jazz and
committee.
Jazz and who?
Dahl.
Dahl. That
Brevin.
Brevin Dahl.
I
And
can't wait
Dahl.
to see Brevin play. I hope he's back to return kicks.
Mhm.
I absolutely love that kid.
Mhm.
Brevin Dahl.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I think he will see the field. Even if they start using him the same way you use Weegen, use him as a gadget guy. He's got 4.3 speed. We need those speed guys getting the ball, and he runs the ball well.
Yeah.
Weegen is so hard.
LeVar said the other day he'll play that position. What do they call it, Jason? Where they cover punts. You sprint
the
down.
gunner?
Yeah.
The gunner? He's going to use Devin as a gunner, or Brevin, I mean.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
He always puts his fastest guys out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
obviously the fastest guy on the team.
You wanted him to get down there and get that ball down inside the 5-yard line, right?
He's the closest to the fastest. Him and Weegen. I don't know about Sam Phillips. I think he's more quick than fast, but somebody said he was really fast.
Well,
I just know he's
we'll just say Brevin Dahl ran a 10.3 100 meter, and Wetchin's best 100 meter in high school was like 11.02. So
no.
Wetchin's very fast in the 40 and 60.
Oh, okay.
He's too little to keep it up for
he runs
100 meters. So.
Yeah, because he runs a 4.340, so like 4.35.
I looked up his 60 meter time. He was real good in the state. His 60 meter was 7.14, which is not
in the 100,
which is a good speed.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Cooper DeJean speed. So.
Okay. Oh, we got Telwall Washington back full time as a running back. But it'll be nice that he has some receiving experience because he can kind of.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the guys. He's going to end up Moulton's not going to be KJ. That's going to be running back by committee. Mm-hmm. Washington's going to have his role as far as third down back. Certain situations they're going to bring Washington in to run certain plays. We're going to see a lot more Washington. I feel sorry for Jazz. I think he'll still be the third and short running back because he's such a hard runner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Jazz and Moulton will be like.
Yeah. Then we got Xavier Williams.
I'll quote Tim Lester ask him about the running backs, and Tim Lester said, "Washington is." He didn't mince words. He goes, "He is a great running back."
Yeah. I'm telling you, we're going to see a lot of Washington.
And then before Abdul Hodge during the bowl prep, they asked Abdul Hodge, because all the Iowa media people, all they want to talk about is Brevin Dahl because he's an Iowa guy, you know. And they were all asking him about Brevin Dahl, and Abdul Hodge just stopped him and said, "Well, before you talk about him, you better talk about Xavier Williams, 230-pound tailback."
Yeah, I was just bringing him up. They said he's that he was impressive. He's more like a bulldozer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then a freshman who's an early enrollee who has lots of speed, Nathan McNeil.
Yeah, he played good in this practice the other day.
Yeah,
as an early enrollee, But,
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Let's move on, and let's talk a little bit about. We already had a little conversation going on with the defense. But let's keep it going a little bit. Like, our cornerbacks situation, linebacker situation. Do we have anybody who can just really kind of go in there and move in? We've got Zach Lutmar and Code Enkinger sharing the strong safety in the cash spot. What else we got? We got Wampa. Also,
Zach Lutmer, he was pretty good when he got his chance, but he looks weird when he's out there. His ball skills are not very good. Mm-hmm. He looks really weird when the ball's in the air. It's like he doesn't it's like he can't focus on either he's supposed to get the ball or the man. Like he got just made look foolish a couple times. But I mean, I don't know more than what he didn't really play much after that. I know when we went against passing teams, they did bring Lutmer out, and like Parker's adjusting to these passing teams, and they did have 6 DBs on the field, and he would still run that cover 2 man, and have his 2 safeties back, and he would just bring. Now Lutmer was a corner, so now they moved him inside to safety. So I mean, maybe that's his spot. I just don't see it as far as his ball skills and stuff.
Yeah.
Entringer is probably the best NFL player, and he's a freak athlete if he can just stay healthy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true. Very true.
That's why they would always bring him in. Even with the sack safeties we had, they would still bring Entringer, and they would take out,
they took out when they benched Nwampa, Entringer.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say is Nwampa. Gosh, I'm having.
They never benched Schulte for obvious reason because he never got out of position. But
right. Everybody was blaming. Yeah, everybody would blame Schulte for Hall's mistakes. you always knew who actually made the mistake. I know when I was always arguing with everybody, even a former offensive coordinator for Iowa, I was arguing with him. He was blaming Schulte. I'm like, this isn't 1985's cover 2 defense. Like, you have to adjust to the formations. You can't just run straight cover 2.
You could always tell. You can tell with Phil, the guy that fucks up. Oops, I said the F word. The guy that screws up gets benched.
Exactly, and that's
when Lee's benched for a whole 3/4 of the game. When what's his name? Hall's benched for a whole game. You know they're screwing up. When Nwampa loses his job for half.
Right.
I know he's a 4-star, 5-star, whatever, but that don't cut it.
You know what coach I was talking about, right? Dean witnessed my conversation with him, the former offense coordinator for Iowa.
Donnie Patterson?
Yeah, that's who I thought you were. I knew that you were.
He doesn't understand modern day defenses. He's like, it was cover 2. That Hall didn't do it. Schulte did. I'm like, it wasn't.
I saw him last night on Corey's show last night. Boy, he's really lost a lot of weight. He's almost pencil rail thin.
Well, he had cancer a while back, I think.
Did he? Must have eaten him up pretty good.
Anyway, you can also tell during the play when Schulte would throw up his arms, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Schulte knew the defense better than anybody else on the field.
Right.
What do you guys know about Kale Kolarek?
He's really good. Walk on.
Yeah, he's a walk on, and it says he's one of the most improved.
He's a junior this year, walk on, and they said we had 4 really good safeties, and Lutmer. Of course, one of them guys is going to play cash, maybe Entringer. I don't know. But
I think Entringer would be a very good cash.
I told you like last fall, remember when I was on a podcast with you, Jason? I said I'd stick Nwampa up near the line of scrimmage.
Well, and that's what they're going to do. That's why I think
I thought they'd move him to cash.
That's what I think that's what they're going to do. But Dean says they just switch safeties with him. But
that's what Nwampa said in his interview, that he's at the Schulte position. Is that free or strong? Free, I think. I don't know which one it is.
I think it's free.
Strong
is what he did.
We play a 2 deep thing. What's the difference whether you're free or strong? But
that's true.
Well, the difference is post snap.
Yeah, and Schulte also was the one that blitzed more on pass plays. So maybe he wants Nwampa to do that. I don't know.
I think they should just make him cash. He's got great ball instincts. I think he'd be a great cash. But
and by the way, your guy Mota has really been doing good.
Yeah.
In practice at cornerback. This is the second time they've moved him to cornerback. But the other times when he was at wide receiver, he'd break an arm. When he was they moved him to cornerback a year ago and he broke his hand.
Yeah. He's always hurt, but he would have been a good wide receiver. That's what really bothers me. But he's
faster than 100 meters by quite a bit than Weetchen. You call him Weetchen?
Weetchen.
Didn't Moto run a 10.6 or something in high school, Jason?
Yeah, he was extremely fast, yeah. So that's, I mean, I was excited when he came in to play wide receiver, but the way everybody's been talking about our offense and stuff, I just think we need to simmer down because the defense is not the defense of old. All this, I mean, the stuff that they're running, like I was giving you guys, everybody's all excited about the concepts. They're not running. Brian ran these concepts too. It's just, I mean, Nate Stanley didn't just have 8,000 yards passing on freaking plays drawn in the sand. So, I mean, it looks different right now. Granted, I think they have their best quarterbacks since Stanley, right? I mean, I think our quarterback room, I know he's going to laugh at it, but these kids, I mean, Stanley is still, Gronowski's, we're going to find out about him, but Stanley will still throw the ball better than the other two. Stratton's more accurate. Stratton is not going to miss wide open receivers. Hank Brown, I really like a lot. I think
we really only have to talk about one quarterback, and that's Gronowski, because he's the one that's going to do all the playing. And he reminds you of Beathard, a guy that can really run and really throw the ball. He's not as strong arm as Beathard probably, but he knows what he's doing and he's very accurate.
He's actually a better athlete than Beathard.
I know Beathard ran a really good 40 in the NFL Combine and stuff, but anyway.
Yeah. A question that just come up to my head. What position does CJ Bell play?
Cornerback. He's from Connecticut.
Okay.
Cornerback.
That's all I want to ask. I just had his name written down here, but I didn't.
Yeah, we just talked about it. He's the one that Desmond King was coaching on the field. Desmond must have took a liking to him or something.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big kid. He's 6'1". He's skinny as a rail, but
that's nice that the former Hawkeyes come back and are willing to step in and help out a little bit.
Well, they love the old coach, and they love Phil Parker, and they love the way things are done at Iowa.
Yeah. For those of you guys who are watching live right now, if you want to ask a question or put a comment or just tell us we're full of it or something, feel free. The comments are open.
We're probably too early. Is anybody even watching?
It's like when we had Steve Crafterson on. Nobody was watching. 2:00 in the afternoon, but
yeah. But we'll get the views on replay when I share it out to everybody.
Well, right. Yeah. But I'm just very optimistic about the offense. But just because I love the quarterback room and the receivers have to be better. The offensive line, I'm not really sure about how much better they're going to be, but it sounds like they are.
I think they'll be better, except I don't know about left tackle, but
right. You're right. That's a big question mark. Is that left tackle?
Yeah, I think Pieper will be better than Colby. Pieper's a great athlete, and he's a car collision guy. Quick, he's like Linderbaum. He hits you, you've been hit. And I know he ain't real big, probably like 275 right now, but boy, is he an athlete,
I know Gronowski will actually make up for some of the inefficiencies that we have on offense, right? He's going to make a play that's going to be like that would never have been a third down conversion before. So he's going to be a big part of that. I just hope he's accurate with the football, which he generally is. We'll find out at this level. His windows are going to be smaller.
Well, question for you. Let's just question him real quick here. Okay. When he went up against Iowa's defense, he couldn't muster up anything but
yeah, he was a freshman.
Was he a freshman then?
Yeah, it was Jack Campbell's senior year. What was the score? 5-3 or something?
7-3.
7-3.
But there was.
I remember Jack Campbell got a safety.
2.
So we got 2 of them.
Yeah, we got 2 safeties in that game.
And a field
goal. 2 safeties and a field goal.
But this is what, let's just pretend like he was a senior. This is what I'll say to that is you're talking about the talent around him and Iowa's defense at that year.
And that might have been one of the greatest Iowa defenses.
Yeah.
Right,
so
Jason?
He didn't have an offensive line that could block anybody on Iowa. He didn't have receivers that could get open. Now, granted, if you remember, there was times he converted third downs against Iowa, and we were so afraid that they're going to get in field goal range, but then he'd end up getting sacked or something.
I believe they won the national championship that year, so he must have had something around him.
And
I'm talking about
here's another
Iowa won the
example.
national title at that level too.
Yeah. Here's an example, Jason. You know, Josh Allen and Big Ben Roethlisberger look like crap in Kinnick Stadium.
Yeah,
You know, were they weren't any good, were they?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of them since? I mean,
right. And that's the thing is, that's what I was saying. Like, it's all about talent around them in those situations.
Yeah. Who did Josh Allen play for when he was playing at
Wyoming?
Wyoming, okay.
He was a walk-on. We could have had him for nothing.
And who's he playing for now?
Buffalo Bills, one of the highest paid guys.
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo, yeah. And who was the other one you said?
Ben Roethlisberger was with Miami, Ohio.
Yeah. He almost beat us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
didn't we play him twice?
Yeah, they couldn't stop a little running back for Iowa, little Freddie Russell. They couldn't stop him.
Freddie Russell, I remember that. Little scat back.
I don't remember. I know Chad Greenway the other day was talking about playing against Roethlisberger when he was with Miami, Ohio. But I think they played him at Miami, Ohio, and then he came to Iowa, didn't he, and play?
They I don't know. They came to Iowa because that's the game Freddie Russell got caught from behind by a DB from Miami, Ohio, that we found out ran like a 4.2 40 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Iowa's whole team was making fun of him because they caught him from behind. Yeah. And it just turned into a big ordeal. That was Freddie's junior year. So what was it, 2004? Yeah, it was 2004 or 3. It was 2003.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was the star running back on 2002.
Yep, he should have been a star running back in 2004.
Kirk's best team, but I know we picked off Ben Roethlisberger's 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, it was a lot, but
Hey guys, I want to interrupt just for a second. Brad Millay says Big Ben, he thinks he had 3 interceptions that game. 3? I want to point out that he and another guy named Brandon do a Hawkaholics podcast, which will be they'll be doing an episode this Wednesday, and Jason and I will be guesting on it. We'll be guest stars on it, or guest co-hosts, or whatever they want to call it. So tune in Wednesday night for that episode. That should be a pretty fun one.
I know we mentioned in passing really quickly earlier, but I want to point out that a freshman walk-on tight end, Von Am, is stupendous.
Yeah, I got him listed here. As I'd mentioned,
he never drops a pass. He made a one-handed touchdown grab in the spring practice, and he's kind of the reason that Hoffman transferred, because Hoffman didn't have the best hands, and Van Am just doesn't drop nothing. He's
against Iowa, Gronowski was 10 of 26 for 87 yards.
It's probably one of his worst games ever.
We don't want him.
No, we don't need him. We don't need him.
He's the only way I think that Iowa. He's the reason I'm saying that Kirk might get his 8 wins this year.
I think Iowa's going to surprise you.
I don't know. You know me. I don't predict seasons, but I know we got a way tougher schedule this year.
I don't think it is, but
a lot of these people, a lot of these prognosticators, they're like, "Can Iowa win 4 games?" Like,
I don't think the schedule is much tougher than a year ago. I think they said the same thing a year ago. This schedule's so tough. No, if we had, a quarterback, the season would have been much better.
If we'd had and there was 3 losses there that was on the defense.
Yes.
When you don't make Michigan State or UCLA punt for a whole game, you only make Washington punt once. What are you talking about? If the Washington coach wasn't so freaking stupid and going on 4th down 6 times.
Thank you for at least saying that.
Why would you do that? You know?
He just felt sorry for Kirk and thought, Kirk, I'm going to give you one this year.
When Kirk don't go for it on fourth down, we all make fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was 4th and 1 at the 50-yard line. How come you didn't go for it? You know, well, we punted it out of bounds on the 2, and then we got it back and we scored. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we do. You know?
I think I was making a comment, and I believe Jason reminded me of that. Well, we scored on the next series.
Right. I mean, we could
Jason,
talk.
Bobby Stoops, everybody thinks he's God, and he's a great coach. I watched him play the other day. They can't score, you know, but he had 4th and 1 at midfield. He went for it, didn't get it, and the other team scored to win the game.
I watched that.
People would be over Kirk, you know, they'd be torching his house.
But
if
you
we
have
did.
to notice at the UFL, nobody's got offense in the UFL. It's all defense. Nobody's
know.
figured out how to play offense in the UFL.
Yeah. It's probably a quarterback shortage, you know. So,
Whatever.
well, there's probably, you know, there's only so many good quarterbacks in the world, right, Jason?
Right.
Once you get out of the NFL, obviously the quality drops, right?
The Bob Stoops saga, though, with Iowa is they just don't understand that he was at Oklahoma. He always had the better team. He always had the better team as far as talent when he went up until the playoffs.
When he had 120 guys on the roster, 90 of them was from Texas.
Right. So I mean, that's a big thing.
And he was a great coach.
Yeah.
I'm just
he had the fortune of following what was his name at
Norman Schnellenberger's Howard Schnellenberger's who he's followed.
Oh, really? I thought he followed who's before that?
They didn't follow Switzer.
Yeah, Switzer. No. I thought he followed Switzer.
No, they got Howard Schnellenberger, the Miami coach that won a national championship and went to the USFL, and he went in there and thought he'd have a passing offense at Miami, and that didn't work. That's the way I remember it.
I thought he followed the coach who's a great recruiter. I mean, he won a national championship in his second year at Oklahoma. They had all the talent in the world when he got there.
Bobby Stoops, I think he went undefeated his first year.
I think it was his second year.
But I think they were on probation. I don't know if they were eligible for anything.
No, because they lost to Texas. Because that was the famous Mike Leach where he left the playbook on the field of all these fake plays and what plays they were going to call. Do you guys know that story?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard it.
He dropped his play art sheet on purpose in front of a Texas assistant coach. Well, they went over and they got it. So they thought they had Oklahoma. You got to YouTube that game. In 1999, Oklahoma, they started the game like 24-0 and ultimately ended up losing because Texas figured out that play call sheet was fake because everything they thought was coming wasn't coming. And it actually hurt their defense. And then once they figured it out and started playing normal, Texas destroyed Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But it was the following year that they won the national title.
And then you know the Iowa offense had this big jump up last year because of the offensive line. And we didn't really discuss the offensive line, did we, or did we?
We did not actually.
It wasn't as much the offensive line as it was play calling, which is why the first half.
Well, yeah, more motion.
The first half was just terrible in most of those games. Remember my famous where you said I was having an exorcist or whatever you said to me? Remember that Minnesota game where I was going crazy?
Well,
Matt,
I said relax, Jason.
Yeah. Well, the first half of a lot of these games.
The first game that Seth Wallace coached, was it 0-0 at halftime or?
Yeah,
something?
but what we found out is he sticks to it. Lester sticks to his guns. He has a first half play call sheet, and he writes everything down, how everything works, what's going on. He adjusts at half, and then boom, we would just blow teams out in the second half.
It's like pretty simple. You look at all of KJ2's touchdown runs. – Usually he went 8 yards before anybody got a hand near him. That's offensive line.
Or,
And then
or
in
the
the
hand,
bowl, in the bowl game, our two backup tailbacks literally averaged like 7 yards a carry. KJ wasn't around, you know.
we could have won that game. We should have won that game. Anyway, we could have easily won 12 games last year, including the bowl game.
If Logan Jones would have been healthy for the bowl game, we'd have won because there wouldn't have been problems with snaps and a poor quarterback sneak and all that shit.
Yeah. Brad is saying that they went 7-5 in Stoops' first season, so now you know.
That makes sense.
So was the second year they went 12-0?
Yeah, second year they went undefeated and won the national title.
Was that Josh Heupel or was that a different?
No, that was Josh Heupel was the quarterback.
And now he's a coach.
They had a little running back, number 22. Can't remember his name, but he was like 5'8", 200 pounds. He's a little dude.
But I guarantee you, he did not replace Barry Switzer.
Okay, that's fine. I believe you if you tell me that. You know,
he didn't replace Howard. I know as well. He replaced one of the best recruiters. I can't
13-0 year 2.
Yeah. He replaced and he ended up being somebody who was recruiting great for Nebraska.
Really?
God, what was his name? I got to find out. The head coach for Oklahoma in 1998. Brad.
So, which one of you's got some background people talking?
It's totally quiet here.
Same here.
It was a ghost behind you, Dean.
No.
It was Marilyn Monroe's ghost.
He replaced John Blake.
John Blake, yes.
Oh,
thank you, Brad.
Yes.
Brad is our Kelvin on this episode.
He did. He replaced John Blake. And
I know Oklahoma was bad.
Yeah, he's not a very good coach, but he could get kids to come to his school.
Now,
he was a great recruiter.
Schnellenberger didn't even have good records at Oklahoma.
So wait a minute though, didn't Switzer retire in the late 90s?
The early 90s, he was coaching the Cowboys in the late 90s.
He took the Cowboys to the Super Bowl in 95.
Okay. All right. I guess my timeline is because I remember the day he stepped away from Oklahoma, and I thought it was late 90s, like 98, 97, somewhere in there.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. He was done with the Cowboys by then even. He took over. I mean, the Cowboys probably won 4 in a row if they had they would have kept Jimmy Johnson and didn't have a crazy owner. You get on the NFL talk, I can go off on the Cowboys because they have a crazy owner. They had a great team. Jimmy Johnson had them rolling. But
so I got a question for you guys, and then we got to end this podcast. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate some of the memories. But why do you think both Shedeur Sanders and Quinn Ewer dropped so far in the quarterback when they probably were all both projected to go early?
You want me to go?
Sure, go ahead.
Now, who was your first one?
Shedeur Sanders
and
then Quinn Ewers.
He dropped because of his interview. Like I said to everybody, Brad, everybody in the world, I still have Sanders as the number 2 quarterback in the draft. I still, as far as talent. But when he goes into interviews and starts telling them like where he's going to go, telling the Giants to draft him, telling everybody he's the best, that's not a leader. There's a reason why his team struggled late in games too. Like he blamed other players and not himself. He would blame the offensive line when he would hold the ball for 10 seconds, right, and get sacked, or he threw an interception, a pick 6 on a wide receiver screen and bump and run when he should have saw it and he should have audibled away from the bump and run, but he threw it right to the guy and he blamed the receiver. Like, the quarterback has to take all that responsibility. He's not taking any of it. And then a part of it, I think, is with Sanders is the media circus that is going to come with you, with Deion being Deion's son. Now, Quinn Ewers, he's just not that good. He's a good college quarterback for the system he was in. Like, they didn't even want Ewers to stay last year, right? Quinn Ewers was he made all his money in high school. This is what NIL does for kids now. It makes them, all their money. If they're not very good at the D1 level, they're going to get that NIL deal. He made $2 million just going to Ohio State his freshman year. He redshirted. Ohio State didn't even want him after they saw him play. Ohio State didn't want him. He transferred, went to Texas, and yeah, he became a starter. He got all the NIL money, but he still made so many mistakes within Texas offense. They didn't really want him to come back at all. That's why he left early. He could have stayed in Texas this year.
Is Arch Manning a better quarterback?
Yes.
Hell yes.
Yes. Arch Manning can do it all. He's got his grandpa in him and his uncles.
Yeah.
Like
he runs like his grandpa and he throws like Peyton. So.
He does too. It's amazing.
His grandpa was a great quarterback, but both Peyton and Eli were better than their dad.
Well, no, did you not hear the difference? They're both Eli and Peyton couldn't run like their grandpa, like their dad.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
And Archie had a very unfortunately played for a team with no offensive line. The New Orleans Saints were the worst team in the NFL about.
Which is why he was running for his life. He'd run over like
he had a great arm. He could run. Nobody knows how good Archie could have been. But the day that I privately messaged Jason, I thought Shedeur would be like the third, fourth guy in a draft, And all of a sudden, his pro day came on ESPN, and I private messengered Jason. I go, "Are you watching his pro day?" And Jason goes, "No, why?" And I go, "He won't even be a top 10 pick. He had no arm strength, couldn't run, and that's what everybody was commenting about." And they did a poll of the GMs in the NFL, and only 15 of them had him as a first-round draft pick after that pro day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does have a strong arm, though. He's
extremely. He sure don't show it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and he was missing receivers so bad in that pro day. I thought, are you tanking it on purpose? And then Urban Meyer, the day of the draft, Urban Meyer, they did a Shedeur Sanders thing, and they showed him throwing his throws, which were not strong throws. And he actually said, Cooper DeJean would have picked that one off and that one off. He said, in the NFL, you got to throw it in tight windows, and his arm just is not good enough.
I mean, I 100% disagree with everything you said about Shedeur, but I mean, we're going to find out. But he is in Cleveland, so that's where quarterbacks go to die.
Yep.
We'll see.
Okay. guys. Okay, we're going to end this, but real quick, Gary Gibbs is the one who replaced Switzer.
There you go. I remember Gary.
Okay, guys, I want to just thank you for participating and helping out tonight. I got to get off of this thing because my knee's about to burst and it's screaming bloody murder right now.
Well,
but I want to make sure that people understand that if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, hit it now. It's right there in front of you. You can't miss it. Hit the subscribe button. Let's see how many more we can get going. Next goal is 600. I do appreciate everybody that getting us to 507. We appreciate that. The views are up lately, so the views are going really well. And so share this, like it, and share it. Oh, and please comment later. I mean, I'll come back in and check your comments later, guys. I really will. But anyway, it's time to get out of here. Let's have a good rest of your week.
See everybody. Go Hawks.
Donate to the Swarm.
I will never be free now, my baby. No.